Shalom, shalom.
You finna check the feed?
Kind yeah, check it for me, bro. Sure.
Okay.
Make sure we're good.
We should be good.
Kind.
But hey, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Ayawam Tawab, which is a good day. Dakna Waha Aibar. Yashallah Hawlakim La Adam. Call Shabawai Baharacha. Wakak Shaw Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah Ma'amat, which is truly. Hey, with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah to preach to you so called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Asians, and Israelite foreigners. Nachamatam Kaya Hamlak Watashamayim Korah. Repent, yea, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, we can go ahead and say, Call Halayim La, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Chakodash. A double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth and rule well. And much respect to you, brothers that are preaching this truth with our righteousness. And sincerely, Shalom, Shalom.
Shalom.
So pretty much, as we always go into, we're going into prophecy because we can see the plagues of Egypt happening again. The gas prices are going up. This devil, Esau, is trying to maintain his grips um, and control. But that's not allotted to happen. In these last days.
Mm-hmm.
We can start with that article.
Kind. It's an article from ABC News. It reads, "Why are gas prices rising? Experts point to extreme heat and oil production costs."
So stuff is getting more expensive, and then everything being interconnected, everything is pretty much a domino effect. And then also it said the heat, because the heat is affecting the gas, and then also it's affecting the food. So pretty much it's like I want to say a trifecta, but it's like a domino effect. So everything is getting affected. Pretty much this place is being imploded. You
Right.
know.
Because when you go into that, man, the gas, the the oil prices affect diesel, they affect gasoline, they affect jet fuel, right? So all these things going into uh, different commerce and the famine that's about to come upon America as well, man. Because as the brother
Hmm.
said, food has to get delivered, all the various medical equipment needs to be delivered. All these things are tied to the gas prices and the oil prices and the access to the gas and oil. So that's what's going to lead to a lot of these plagues, start to come upon America, man.
Hmm.
And we keep going in that. So continuing on, it reads, drivers are in for another headache at the pump as U.S. gas prices continue to rise. The national average for gas prices stood at about 3.78 per gallon on Tuesday, about 25 cents higher than seen 1 month ago, according to
Because
North.
it was one day when I was probably like a week to where gas was probably like 330, and out of nowhere it shot to like 350, and now it's up like 360, 370. You
Mm-hmm.
know, which this is going to affect. All right, it's 370, so that's a couple of dollars. And people already don't got a couple of dollars to spare. So that's going to affect. People's already making life decisions.
Right.
Before now. But it's going to be worse. Soon come.
Okay. It reads, while today's gas prices at the pump remain far lower than they were last year, when energy costs soared worldwide in the months following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, experts say such a jump is unusual. They say usually it takes a hurricane to move prices that much,
Mhm.
said the AAA spokesman, who said the rise is especially interesting as fewer people are fueling up their cars this summer compared to years past.
Mhm.
In the U.S., gasoline prices are highly dependent on crude oil. West Texas Intermediate crude, the U.S. benchmark, has stayed above $80 per barrel since Thursday, standing at over 81 as of Tuesday afternoon. That marks a $12 jump since July 3rd, according to the OPIS Global Head of Energy Analysis, Tom Closer.
So it ain't no more. How they used to say like hot girl summers and the traveling summers and everything. The Lord is removing the mirth. It
Hmm.
ain't gonna be no more traveling. You know.
Exactly. And that's going, hyperinflation is going to start as a result, man.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's going to be a lack of goods because the gas prices are going to be so high, and then the prices in the stores are going to continue to rise, man. And
Mm-hmm.
we see that already. The prices went up, during the pandemic, right? So the prices went up then. They haven't come back now since, right? Because Esau realized I can put the prices up, and if people are willing to buy it, why would I bring it back down, right?
Right.
So things are just going to continue to increase.
Mm-hmm.
It says there are a few factors causing oil prices to rise, Gross and Closer say, including global supply production cuts and impacts of this summer's extreme heat on refineries. It says, why are gas prices rising? Blame the heat and production cuts. This summer's record temperatures are partly to blame for the rise in gas prices. While the heat may be keeping people home, it also keeps refineries from making refined product.
Right. So it's keeping people from producing what was it, the crude and the oil and stuff like that and gas.
Hmm.
So it'll be a shortage of that, and also a shortage of food, you know,
Right.
further pushing a famine of food.
Uh, Hey, going into the plagues, man. These extreme temperatures are a plague that's going across the land, man.
Right.
Right? There ain't no reason for it to be 120 degrees nowhere, man.
Right.
Right? But that's the Lord, causing all these various weather patterns to change, man.
Mm-hmm.
It says, Salakia. According to Closer, there's about 10 million daily barrels of U.S. refining capacity on the Gulf Coast. The heat wave has caused those refineries to operate below normal capacity, resulting in a loss of hundreds of thousands of barrels each day.
And that's we got the food, we got the gas, so people can't travel, but then also, trucking is going to take a major hit too, because that's like one of the backbones. Because you got the freight, you got the trucks, and then you got these ships. So if you don't really have no gas production, that's going to it's going to do something to the backbone of the economy. Which
Yep,
which trucks run on diesel, but then also you got like trucks that actually use gas. So that's
right.
going to do something to the economy as well, especially like for these businesses. So again, that domino effect, it's going to affect the economy. It's going to further make the dollar crash.
That's right. Continuing on. Salakia, what was that? It says the fact that some refineries are struggling has meant that the ones who are able to operate are making really nice profits. He said U.S. domestic demand is about $9 million or 9 million barrels per day, about half a million below expectations for peak summer months. But the country is exporting a lot of gasoline, he added. Beyond the heat, Closer pointed out crude oil supply cuts from the major producing countries in the OPEC alliance. In July, for example, Saudi Arabia started reducing how much oil it sends to the global economy by 1 million barrels each day. Russia is also exporting less, he said. The cuts aren't OPEC wide, Gross noted. As inflation eases, he suspects that better economic prospects may also be putting pressure on oil worldwide. Which states have the highest gas prices today? As always, certain parts of the U.S. are facing higher gas prices than others, due to factors ranging from routine maintenance at regional refineries to limited supplies in some states. On Tuesday, according to the AAA, California had the highest gas prices in the nation at an average of $5 per gallon. Washington and Oregon followed by 496 and 492 respectively. Mississippi had the lowest average, about 329 per gallon, followed by 339 in Louisiana and 340 in Alabama. It says, will gas prices continue to climb? It is hard to know what gas prices will look like in the coming weeks, experts say, while relief from the heat can hopefully be expected as we enter the fall. But Gross and Closer pointed out to the risk of hurricanes, which of course lead the refineries to power down. if you could guarantee we're not going to have tropical storm force or hurricane winds in the Gulf of Mexico, I'd say it's going to be clear sailing for the rest of the year. But that's a real fly in the ointment, Closer said, pointing to unprecedented water temperatures in the region has seen recently. Right, going back to the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, man. Right, he's causing all these various weather patterns. He's causing all these things, the heating up of the oceans, right? Though he's using Esau to do it, right? He all these things are leading to the coming famine, the coming plagues and pestilences, man. Because once they can't start producing oil again, the prices are going to go up, and as a result, as the brother said, these things are just going to trickle down, to your pockets, man. Right, ultimately leading to that hyperinflation.
And also going into that, being that it's a domino effect, you're gonna have a lot of angry Babylonians. They can't travel, they can't do what they want. So it's gonna create the sedition, and also Egyptian against Egyptian. People can get angry, they can get mad. And it's been hella hot. So we're gonna start seeing like more uprisings, more riots. Is that pretty much the end of the article?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
We can hop to Baba Kashan. Could you go to the blue letter and get the word for plague? Because the Lord, he sent plagues to ancient Egypt, and America is modern day Egypt, which Egypt that goes into bondage. The country of America has the Israelites in slavery, so pretty much the Lord is sending the plagues, to deliver the elect, to judge Esau and deliver the elect.
This is the word for plague is Strong's H5061. It reads stroke, plague, disease, mark, plague, spot, a stroke or a wound.
And what the scripture say? It says, "Thy wound is grievous." I'm gonna get that real fast. And then the scripture also it says stroke, right? So pretty much, like it says in actually we'll get it. I'm gonna get could you get Second Ezra 15 and I think it's verse 9. Verse it's verse 11, and then I'm gonna get this Nahum.
This is Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof.
Could you run it back?
Second Ezra 15 and verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm.
Talking about the Lord's elect.
And smite Egypt with plagues as before.
And when you go into it says stroke. It says stroke, disease, and a couple of other definitions, but stroke going into smite. The Lord smiting Egypt. With the you got the diseases. He's smiting Egypt with smiting Egypt's economy. The overall morality of this place. You go to Isaiah 19 and verse 14, if I'm not mistaken. It talks about how the Lord mingled a perverse spirit. So the morality. The Lord is smiting Egypt on all fronts.
That's right.
I got another one. This is Nahum chapter 3 and verse 19, because it said wound. It says, so it says, there is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap the hands over thee. For upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? All right, and that bruise. All right, that bruise that can't be healed. It's pretty much you got the economy. You got the morality. The Lord's sending the plagues, and it's not going to be healed. This place is destined to fail. That's why when you go into the definition of America, it's pretty much goes into bitter.
That's right. I got one for you.
Okay.
This is the book of Second Ezra chapter 16 and verse 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. Right. So they're coming quickly, right? And they're not gonna ease up, man. Right. We're gonna see these things continue to ramp up, right? Continue to intensify, as we get closer to the end.
And like, my bad.
You go ahead.
I'm gonna say pretty much like when the 19 happened, something that happened, say like I'm just throwing a number out there, 2 weeks, then 2 weeks, then 2 weeks. But now we seeing almost every day, something, it's not being slack. The Lord
Right.
is doing a number on Babylon the Great.
That's right. It reads, verse 38. As a woman with child in the ninth month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So as the brother mentioned, man, right? America's getting attacked on all fronts, man, right? These plagues are coming upon America in every facet of life, right? From the as the brother said, the morals of the people, right? The economy, the food, the global relations, all these things are compounding together that are ultimately going to lead to the downfall of this wicked kingdom, man.
Con. We could we could go back to Second Esdras 15, from the
Okay.
top.
Okay. Second Ezra 15 and verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
and will cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true.
Isaiah 34:16. Everything that's in the scriptures is going to happen. It has happened in history. So everything that's prophesied in the book to happen will happen.
That's right. It says, fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee.
So don't worry about 2/3 these heathen. Don't worry about what they got to say. You see, because they're gonna
Mhm.
they're gonna die in their unbelief. That's what the word incredulity goes back to.
Mhm. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Sword, famine, death, which mass death is gonna go out. Because everybody has walked in great pride. Well, those outside of the elect, they walked in great pride. Then you got famine, which we're seeing that in the background, but it's increasing because of things like the oil production. And then it says destruction. The destruction is drawing nigh. The Lord is sending that destruction.
Mhm. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and her hurtful works are fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
Going into how Esau is maximizing their wickedness, man. Right? They're reaching the climax, the pinnacle of what they can achieve, man. Right? And that's how we're getting closer to the Lord returning.
Mm-hmm. We can
It
we can go down.
says,
So like we can go down to verse 16, and that'd be it.
Con. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me,
Kind of
and
in
the
the
souls of
innocent
the
righteous
just.
blood being the elect.
Right.
Sign the crown for all the abominations that's done in the midst. Because pretty much everything in this world is adverse to righteousness.
Yep. And the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them.
Going into the elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3 remnant.
Mhm. Behold, verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will
Going into
destroy.
the strokes, the Lord smiting, and then also the wounds. That the Lord is pretty much smiting Egypt with plagues. All right, and then the ultimate plague being the missiles.
God, and will destroy all the land thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with plagues and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Right, and we're seeing those foundations being rooted up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we're seeing everything that they push in the land. The wickedness is being exposed. The people are, the uproars of the people, as the scriptures talk about. Right, we're seeing all these things come to play, and ultimately, it's going to lead to the implosion. Right, the destruction of the internal of the society, man. Right, and then it's going to be a external destruction from the other nations, man.
Hmm.
It says, verse 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with the fearful constellation. Going into that famine, man. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
Kind of which woe goes into destruction and misery. The destruction to the world.
Mhm. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh,
And
and
we
one
we can
people.
we can see that the ultimate weapon that's going to be used is those nukes. You go to Ezekiel chapter 21. It talks about how the sword is being furbished. You know, should we then make mirth? You see, because the destruction is drawing nigh, and
Right.
also what you would call like small melee. Like the clashes inside of nations. And nations against nations. We're seeing the uprisings and the different nations pretty much want to battle and war with each other.
hmm For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they
So
shall.
sedition goes into a violent uprising. You got places like Ethiopia, Kawash in the
Mhm.
scriptures, which is Kush. They pretty much they have a militia group or a coup that's going up against their military. Which they told them to join the military, but they wasn't with that. So we're seeing a lot of infighting and a lot of sedition. Different groups teaming up because they're not really necessarily in agreement with what the government is pushing.
Right. You see that in places like France right now.
Hmm.
They got the various uprisings going on. I think they were going. It was either Lebanon or Libya. It might have been Lebanon. Where
Hmm.
they lost access to their bank funds. And the people started to uprise against that regime. So we're seeing these things start to ramp up throughout the earth, man. That spirit, of sedition is coming all over the place, and it's going to culminate in Babylon the Great, at its greatest. It says, "A man shall have." That's like verse 18, second Esdras
Listen,
15. I was like 15 and 16. So, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes.
so they're not going to be giving any regard to the leadership, the officials that set up in these particular places, and they're also not going to regard the laws and stuff like that.
Mhm. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
So they pretty much going to be doing whatever serves their belly, whatever they got on their mind.
Right.
Because pretty much, again, the common folk are not happy with how the government is running things. They're not necessarily in agreement with the different laws and stuff that's set up. Pretty much going into that infighting. Could we get one more precept and then that'd be it? This is
Okay.
Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2. Or, yeah, verse 2. It reads, it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, which this is going into Babylon, but I'm applying it to just infighting in general. So I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. They shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. Pretty much just implosion in America, Babylon the Great, you see, but we're seeing that also in these other countries, you know, because the Lord is destroying Esau's infrastructure from the inside out, before the nukes come. But that was pretty much it. If he ain't had
Read three. Read three too.
three. It says, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards."
Right. So as the brother is going into in his lesson, man, right? These plagues, are a result of the spirit of Egypt failing, man, right? The spirit of Babylon the Great, the spirit of, Assyria, the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah. This is all, a spiritual culmination of all those cities, man, right? Of all those kingdoms in Babylon the Great, right? And that it's about to fail. And we're watching it fall. We're watching it fail, as we speak. So all these things, all these plagues, going back to that article, right? All these plagues are a result of Egypt failing, and they're not going to be able to commune with those idols. The wisdom of team, and is there no more wisdom in team, right? So all these things that we're seeing, are a result of the Lord causing the spirit of this place to fall, right? But that's it.
Con. Well, I don't want to Zaza by Nayapa. Lord's will, there was a beautiful edification through the Spirit. While I don't want to Zaza, Thumb, Yashi, Wam, Tawab. Lord's will, you all have a good day. Go ahead, close it out by saying, Kah Layim La, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Basham Chah, Kodash, a double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth and rule well, and much respect to you brothers out there pushing the truth with our righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.